Madam, your husband has more than 3 girlfriends. Housemaids, shocking confession. The housemaid stood silently by the door, clutching the hem of her apron with trembling fingers. Madam, she whispered, her voice cracking under pressure. Yes, the elegant woman replied, sipping her tea calmly. I don't want to lose my job. But you need to know this. Your husband, he has more than 3 girlfriends. I've seen them, in this house. The teacup slipped from Madame Lillian's fingers, and shattered on the marble floor. What happened next would not only blow the lid off a seemingly perfect marriage but would set off a chain of secrets, betrayals, and revenge that no one saw coming. Before we dive in, please support us by subscribe, like and share for more with activating the notification bell. Thank you. Lillian Summers had it all, or so it seemed. A stunning mansion nestled in the heart of an upscale neighborhood, a picture-perfect marriage to successful businessman Victor Summers, and a beautiful daughter enrolled in one of the city's best private schools. Her Instagram overflowed with lavish dinner parties, weekend spa trips, and couple goals. To outsiders, she was living a dream, but behind closed doors, silence ruled their home. Victor was always busy, traveling for work, late meetings, early flights. Lillian, graceful and sharp, had grown used to his distance over the years, brushing it off as part of the high-flying corporate life. She'd built a routine to cope: morning Pilates, charity work, school pickups, and endless redecorating projects. One day, Lillian hired a new housemaid, Grace, a shy 23-year-old who had recently moved to the city. Grace was respectful, quiet, and diligent, exactly what Lillian needed to manage the house while she maintained her social calendar. But soon, odd things began happening. Grace would hesitate before answering questions. She once accidentally addressed Lillian as Mrs. Andrews, Victor's mother's maiden name. She froze when Lillian found a long strand of blonde hair on the master bed pillow. Another time, Lillian discovered a second phone charger behind Victor's nightstand, an oddity, considering he claimed he never brought work devices home. And then there was the perfume. Victor never wore cologne, but every few days, the scent of an unfamiliar, floral fragrance lingered in the hallway, especially when Victor returned from his business trips. One rainy afternoon, while folding towels in the guest bedroom, Lillian heard a muffled sound, voices laughing, soft thuds. They were coming from the master bathroom. She tiptoed forward, but by the time she opened the door, the bathroom was empty. Victor's suitcase was back. He claimed he had just arrived, but Grace looked pale and jittery that evening, nearly dropping the dishes during dinner service. Later that night, while checking on laundry, Lillian found a red stiletto heel shoved behind the washing machine. It wasn't hers. She never wore red. The next morning, she approached Grace gently. You look tired. Grace, is something bothering you? Tears welled up in Grace's eyes. Madam, I can't keep this anymore. She paused, her voice trembling. I've seen 3 different women come into this house in the last 4 months. Always when you're away. One of them even wore your robe. Lillian froze. Her throat went dry. I didn't want to tell you because I need this job. But it's not just 3. There may be more. He, Mr. Summers, pays the driver to pick them up at odd hours. He brings them into the guest room, or sometimes your bedroom. The betrayal hit like a truck. Lillian wanted to scream, but instead she whispered, how long? Since before I started. I think, the driver told me he's done this for years. Lillian couldn't sleep that night. Grace's confession replayed in her head. Every dinner party, every vacation he skipped, every text Victor dismissed as work. It all made chilling sense now. She decided not to confront Victor immediately. She needed proof. She installed small hidden cameras in the guest bedroom and hallway. She reviewed the driver's car logs. She hired a private investigator, pretending it was for a missing family friend. Within days, the truth became undeniable. Victor wasn't just cheating, he was orchestrating an entire double life. The investigator discovered he had rented an apartment across town under a fake name. The building's concierge confirmed multiple women frequently visited the unit. Worse, one of the women was barely 20. Another was a former employee who had once accused Victor of inappropriate behavior, but later withdrew her complaint after a mysterious settlement. Lillian didn't cry. She planned that with the help of the investigator. She compiled a thick file of photos, text messages, and audio recordings. She even caught Victor on camera hugging a woman in their kitchen, the same spot where he once promised her they'd grow. Altogether, she made 4 copies of everything. One for herself, one for a divorce lawyer, one for the press, and one for something else. just in case. Victor returned home from Dallas looking smug. As he entered the living room, he found Lillian seated calmly, a folder in her lap. Grace was nowhere in sight. "Hey babe, you look tense," he said casually. "I know," she replied. "I've been thinking about how much I've changed. About trust." Victor chuckled. "Everything okay?" She opened the folder and slid it across the table. His smile faltered. "What is this?" he asked. Lillian didn't speak. She just watched his face drain of color as he flipped through image after image, him embracing other women, texting explicit messages, entering that apartment. His eyes widened. "You hired someone to follow me?" "No, I hired someone to tell me the truth, something you clearly couldn't." He tried to defend himself. "Lillian, these women meant nothing. It was just stress, business pressure." She raised her hand. "Don't insult me further. I know about the apartment, the 22-year-old you paid tuition for, the ex-employee you silenced." He staggered back. "Lillian, please don't ruin my career. Think of our daughter." He should have thought of her before turning our home into a revolving hotel. Victor panicked. "We can fix this." But Lillian stood tall. "No, Victor, you broke it." Lillian filed for divorce the next day. Her lawyer moved swiftly, using the compiled evidence to secure full custody, control over the estate, and a public statement that protected her dignity. The scandal made headlines, especially when one of Victor's girlfriends came forward, confirming she was promised marriage. Victor's empire crumbled. Sponsors pulled out. Board members resigned. His name became poison in business circles. Grace, the housemaid, remained loyal. Lillian helped her get training in hospitality, then hired her as a full-time house manager with double her old salary. As for Lillian, she didn't hide. She didn't run. She started speaking publicly at women's conferences about self-betrayal and resilience. Her Instagram evolved from filtered couple photos to bold statements of strength, confidence, and starting over. One day, while organizing files, Lillian found the fourth folder she'd hidden, the one marked backup, copy, deliver if anything happens. She smiled and tossed it into the fireplace. She no longer needed it. But the twist. Months later, Grace came into her study with wide eyes. "Madam," she whispered, "you won't believe who just rang the doorbell." Lillian turned. Standing outside was a woman, early 30s, teary-eyed, holding a toddler. "I need to speak with you," she said. "My name is Eliza, and this boy, he's Victor's son." Lillian's jaw dropped. She opened the door slowly, her mind spinning. Was this yet another buried lie, or the beginning of a new, unexpected chapter?